Just let me know when it's on for sure, so I'm not getting ahead of myself.
Oh, OBS. You're gonna be my OBS guru, so I use OBS, but it's like minimal. I've got like a couple things going on, and I've got like Streamlabs in there, but
I just got it for this.
Did you?
We're way behind. I'm way behind. I totally didn't.
Yours is good.
I didn't realize XSplit wouldn't work on his Mac.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. Are we on? We're on. Welcome to Super Gamer at FanQuest. This is J Tanooki. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, our first guest of our first ever live broadcast at FanQuest here.
Mm-hmm.
Our first guest was going to be Dan Vadabunker. He's running late. That's okay. You're a better first guest.
Well, thank you. I think I'm a little better looking.
Yeah, well,
Nothing against Dan, but sorry, Dan.
So we got a bunch to go through this weekend. A few live broadcasts to do today. Starting with J Tanooki. Dan will come later, and we have LARPs later as well. Just a bit of housekeeping first. There is a contest we're running. 2 gaming gift cards to get. There's $20 for Steam, $20 for PSN Network. You got to like us on Facebook, Super Gamer Podcast, and then post on our wall your favorite game and why, and then you're entered, and there'll be 2 draws through the weekend. All right, now, our guest, J Tanooki, a local cosplayer, obviously.
Yes.
So we'll start with how long you've been cosplaying.
Well, I've been cosplaying as a hobby for about 14 years now. So I've been in the cosplay game for a while, but I've only actually started sharing my work out there and giving myself an identity in the past 3.5 years.
Right.
And so that's when I started actually touring around, making sure I'm, saying hi and being present at every single local convention, as well as touring around to a couple other conventions in Canada and the US.
As far as your identity, why J Tanooki? Obviously, you like the Tanooki suit.
Yeah, well, my first name is Jamie, so that's where the J part comes from. I wanted to have like a little bit of my own identity in there. I didn't want to completely lose myself in whatever my name was. I still wanted people to know that it's me. I'm still a normal everyday person. I'm still a regular geek, just like everybody else. But the Tanooki part, obviously, the way that I spell it relates to classic Mario, like Mario 3 in the Tanooki suit. Tanookies are obviously based off of the animal, but it's spelt with a U instead of a double O. That has the raccoon tail and looks like a little like dog raccoon.
And I love, statue.
Yeah, exactly. And apparently has giant balls. I don't know if I'm allowed. I guess I'm allowed to say that. It's already too late. But primarily, like, I'm a gamer at heart. I love video games. I grew up on video games, classic NES, SNES, N64, PC, everything like that. And then I became, like, a huge avid PlayStation fangirl from day one. But since a lot of my nerd cred goes into gaming, I wanted to incorporate some of that as well as mostly my love for classic gaming. And so that's where the Tanooki part came from. And also, I don't know, I think I'm just kind of cuddly and cute. So it all kind of incorporates into one thing. And it also allows me to give an awesome moniker to the people that are interested in what I do and follow and support all my work. And so I call them all my super leaves because they empower me the way that a super leaf turns Mario into the Tanooki.
Cool.
Yeah.
What are you today?
Today I'm dressed up as an original redesign of Trico from The Last Guardian.
Oh,
yeah, so it's like the big like bird dog thing. That game just came out in December after like a huge, long anticipated wait from Team Eco, who had done Shadow of the Colossus and Eco. Mm-hmm. So when I originally played the game, I fell in love with the relationship that you built with Trico. Or with the Trico. I don't think its name's not Trico, it's just the beast itself is called a Trico. But I fell in love with the design and fell in love with the relationship and the personality that it had. But I didn't want to go wandering around in like a full fursuit, but I did want to have some kind of cosplay that's based off of that design. And so I'm like, well, these things fight it out. They can be very aggressive and very bestial. I'm going to do a berserker style inspiration of Trico. So like, you can't see it on camera here, but I've got like crazy bird feet with big claws on them.
It's true.
You can see it here. I've got these giant feather wings on me. So incorporating a lot of the feathers and fur that are involved with that design, as well as some LEDs and stuff, because there are some glowing aspects to that character. I have like a giant feather tail that you also can't see on camera. It's long. It's pretty intrusive sometimes, but and then big, crazy, there you go, claws, big claws.
You mentioned how it's sort of a redesign. Then I think I heard you recently in an interview actually say that that's sort of a specialty for yours. It's like an adaptation of characters.
Correct. Yeah. Like I do a lot of. I definitely do have some cosplays that are based off of just taking the design and recreating it in real life. I did bring a prop here of my Arcade Misfortune gun, which I'm pretty well known for at this point. Lots of people have seen my Arcade Misfortune, and it's become pretty popular online and that, and with my fan base. But for the most part, I love the idea of, since cosplay is such an art form in and of itself, the idea to take a character and do your own unique twist on it and give it its own life, and do your own interpretation of it that's completely artistically unique to you. It's on the same level as doing costume design for movies, and that it's your own interpretation and giving that character completely new life in ways that people have never seen it before.
Do you have a favorite character to cosplay?
Well, because my Arcade Misfortune is pretty popular, and I love like the empowerment and like this sort of like sexy, fierce, powerful, like hear me roar kind of woman character. The Arcade Misfortune is definitely popular. My Catwoman as well, which is it's based off of the Play Arts Kai figure that was designed by Tetsuya Nomura, who's the art director for Final Fantasy. That one is like also a super intensively detailed cosplay, and that one has like tons of layered armor work on it, and a lot of like anti-gravity armor as well. So like that one's also a pretty big favorite too.
So one of the more like in-depth ones, like how long would that take to make?
You know what? For my husband and I actually work together on a lot of my cosplays, only because he's really good at taking sort of 3D elements and turning it into something physical. It's also really hard to try to mold armor and stuff on your own body by yourself. So having another partner there working with you on the same costume helps a lot. And so then we work in conjunction on some costumes. The one that I'm actually wearing tomorrow, which is Rita Repulsa from the new Power Rangers movie, that one combined between the both of us is probably well over 150 hours.
Wow.
And that one's certainly a lot more intensive, along the lines of like the Catwoman, like things that have a lot of armor and a lot of molding and sculpting and painting.
Right. You've talked a lot about games and cosplaying. I read that you actually got into cosplaying because of anime. I think I read that on an AYB interview.
That way back when, one of the first the first cosplay that I ever did was Sakura from Card Captors, and then following that, attending my first con, my first actual like going out there and cosplaying something was Pan from Dragon Ball GT. So like that is totally how I got my start.
So what is it about anime that you were like, I'm gonna wear those?
You know what? It was like cosplaying back when I started like wasn't a huge thing. You sometimes cosplayed at conventions, but there also weren't a lot of conventions around at that point, and usually we'd just go there, kind of check things out, and then leave. Now cosplay has turned into such a huge culture, and it's so much easier to get into the hobby. There's a lot more accessibility. There's tutorials. And there's a huge community that's super supportive of sharing all this information with everybody else. I mean, I got my start watching anime, following playing video games, because video games are kind of just, a thing that you had at home, but you didn't really have I didn't have a Game Boy Color to go out and play like Pokemon with my friends, so I just like played video games at home like by myself or with like my older sister. But anime, it was so easy to go over to your friend's house and watch anime or watch cartoons and that. And back in that point, there was Pokemon, there was Dragon Ball Z that was out on TV, there was Gundam Wing, Escaflowne. Like there was a lot of anime that was coming over to North America and being broadcast on North American television, as well as there being a few places where you could actually like purchase anime for very expensive. But it was so easy to actually like interact with other people through anime more so than video games, I feel, at that time.
Do you have advice for someone like me who I would love to be into cosplay? Like wearing costumes is so cool, but I have no skill at making any. Like I can't draw.
Yeah.
What can I do? You
know what? Everybody has to start somewhere. Like I actually got started not doing my own cosplays. My mom actually helped me out a lot because she was quite an experienced seamstress and made tons of costumes for me when I was a kid for Halloween and stuff, and for different school presentations and things. So I mean, like it's so easy now to be able to find and access a lot of tutorials and information. There's tons of well-known cosplayers who are now taking their knowledge and sharing it out in ways that are well formatted for people that want to get started in cosplay. So like Yaya Han, who is a massive queen in the cosplay world. She now has fabric patterns as well as fabric that you can buy that's designed for cosplayers, knowing her history of not having access to be able to have, be able to grab something off the shelf and be like, this is purpose for cosplay. But if you're really unfamiliar, you don't have a sewing machine and you're a little bit intimidated by that, or cosplay is also not a cheap hobby to get into if you really want to delve into it, you can certainly get commissions from people. There are a ton of people who don't cosplay themselves but love to build things, and so you can find tons of people who are incredibly talented who will do commissions for you. There is nothing wrong with buying your cosplay as well. There's a ton of sites there's a ton of sites both based in North America and Japan and China and that, who specialize in making fantastic cosplays, good quality fabrics. There aren't a bunch of loose seams everywhere. They're affordable to get into, and there's nothing wrong with that. You're still considered a cosplayer if you do that. You can also do cosplays too. You can just as easily find an anime character that's wearing street clothes and maybe go and buy a wig and be like, I'm this anime character. You can also, a lot of what I do sometimes just to save on costs, since cosplay is an expensive hobby to get into, is go to a thrift store and repurpose some things that are already there. Maybe you have to cut off the sleeves of a jacket to make a vest, or maybe you have to paint a stripe down a pair of pants to make it match that character. It makes things incredibly easy if you just kind of get a little bit of imagination into it.
You mentioned Yaya Han, which I believe is your favorite or your role model, kind of.
Yeah. She is definitely one of the top favorites of mine.
Did you meet her when she was at C4?
I did, yes. I had an opportunity to actually do an interview for her on behalf of AYB Online when I was writing as their cosplay columnist and working sort of as a cosplay and convention correspondent, so to speak. I had an opportunity to interview her and ask her some questions about what it's like to actually brand yourself and pursue cosplay as a profession, as well as her experience with being able to tour all over the world and see different cultures of cosplay. Because cosplay is very different in North America than it is in Europe and Japan and South America as well. The regions all have very different outlooks on what is considered high quality, high caliber cosplay. And she also shared just some tips and tricks too about how to get into cosplay and how to sort of future-proof yourself if you're wanting to pursue it professionally.
So how was it meeting her?
Oh, fantastic. Unreal. She's incredibly humble and incredibly kind, and always willing to share and contribute to the cosplay community. She's definitely a cosplay ambassador, which is how she also represents herself to the cosplay community.
You've got involved in some fundraising efforts through cosplay?
Yes, I had an opportunity to wear my cosplay as part of an initiative. It was done through Shoppers Drug Mart, so I did an appearance at a Shoppers Drug Mart location during, and I'm gonna botch the name of the organization, so I'm not even gonna say it. But basically, what they do is they raise funds for beauty awareness that contributes to women who go through cancer treatments. And so they go through their chemotherapy, they might lose their hair, they might go through changes in their skin, and so they might not be feeling their best, they're feeling incredibly self-conscious because they feel like they've lost sort of that feminine side of themselves. And so what they do is all of the fundraising that they contribute towards this cause goes into helping them acquire high quality wigs so that they can regain their hair, providing them with good skincare and skincare consultations so that they know how to take care of their skin when they've gone through all that radiation therapy, because things may have changed. They may be going through breakouts, they might have dry skin, and you want to make sure that, your skin is your biggest organ, right? So you want to make sure you take care of it because it's what protects everything inside of you. So it's good to take care of the outside of you too. As well as if they want to get into beautifying themselves with makeup and that, they also help provide them with that as well. And I believe there's also some counseling in there too to kind of just help them build that self-confidence and self-improvement.
we're going to kind of wrap it up here a little bit
Sure,
now.
yeah.
We're at FanQuest, obviously. Anything here you want to see, and then where do people go to see you?
Well, it's really easy to find me. There's sort of a cosplay corner when you're walking inside. We got signage over there, so it's pretty easy to find me. I'm also in costume, so that also makes it pretty easy to find me. I mean, you can also find me on Facebook and that. But if you just Google J Tanooki, it's all there. It's all there. I'm really excited to see the DC Douglas erotic panel that he's doing. Yeah, I think that's one that I'm really looking forward to. But if you're interested too, and you are down here, I'm hosting a panel at 2:00 if you're interested in finding out what redesigning cosplay or doing redesigns of characters for cosplay is all about. You can also consider it as redesigns for art too. So if you're taking a male character and turning it into a female character, or if you're doing stuff like this where you're taking an entirely non-gender character and giving it a completely new theme. So, yeah.
Sweet. Thank you. J Tanooki, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, guys.
Once again, if people want to come say hi at the Super Gamer podcast table here, we're the one without a tablecloth. And please enter our contest.
Us on Facebook. Yeah, enter that contest.
Thank you.
These guys are fabulous.
Thank you. Yeah, J Tanooki, thanks.